something we don't talk about enough. You can't want visibility and be terrified of being seen at the same time. You want people to discover your work, but hesitate to post it. You want the speaking opportunity, but question yourself when someone hands you the microphone. You want recognition, but when someone asks you to do, suddenly you minimize your credentials. That's not necessarily hypocrisy, it's emotional conflict. One part of you wants expansion, another part of you is trying to protect you from judgment, criticism, rejection, or embarrassment. If you don't understand that conflict, you'll keep calling yourself inconsistent when you're actually experiencing an unresolved issue. Welcome back to Empowered Me. We're continuing Owned Success, and today we're talking about visibility because you can say you want the opportunity, the platform, the promotion, the clients, or the recognition, and still become uncomfortable when people actually start seeing you. I don't think we talk enough about the emotional side of visibility. Sometimes we're not afraid of failing. We're afraid of what happens when people finally have an opinion about who we are. And I know what it's like to walk into a room and decide that certain parts of Natasha needed to stay hidden. There have been rooms over the last few years where I intentionally hid pieces of myself. I would not always mention my credentials. Sometimes I would leave that out, that I was a pastor or I was a chaplain. Sometimes I would leave out that I was a pastor. Sometimes I would not talk about being a chaplain. I knew I had accomplished things, but I worried about how people would receive me if they knew too much too quickly. I wanted to belong. I wanted people to like Natasha before deciding what they thought about the titles attached to my name. So, depending on the room, I learned how to edit myself. Eventually, that started bothering me because I realized I was asking God to use my life while simultaneously hiding the parts of the life He had given me. Being a pastor is a part of my story. Chaplaincy is a part of my story. Education is a part of my story. Coaching is a part of my story. So are the failures, the disappointments, and the things I survived. God did not bring me through those things so I could pretend they never happened, just to make someone else more comfortable. I had to confront I had to confront the difference between humility and hiding. Recently, I found myself in a community where I could show up more fully as myself, and something in me just relaxed. I realized I did not need everybody to understand me in order to be authentic. Some people may like what I do. Some may not agree with every part of my story. Some may not want what I bring, and that's okay. My responsibility is not to control their response. My responsibility is to show up with integrity, kindness, confidence, and honesty. God never asked me to become acceptable to everybody. He asked me to be faithful with who I am. The right community will not require you to erase the pieces of yourself in order to belong. Being seen means people get to form opinions about you. Mhm. That's uncomfortable because you cannot control what happens after someone encounters your work. They may love it, they may ignore it, they may criticize it, they may misunderstand you. Your brain would often rather avoid that uncertainty altogether. Emotional intelligence does not eliminate the fear of judgment. It allows you to recognize it without automatically hiding because of it. You can say, I'm afraid people may reject this, while still deciding this matters enough for me to share it. That's emotional regulation in action. Confidence is often treated like a prerequisite for visibility. Behaviorally, it's frequently the result. You can do the uncomfortable thing. You survive it. Your brain receives evidence that you can handle the experience. Then the next exposure becomes slightly easier. So stop waiting for a magical moment when you're completely comfortable being seen. Post one video. Publish one article. Submit one proposal. Introduce yourself without minimizing your credentials. Let visibility become a behavior you practice rather than an emotion you wait for. Ask yourself, am I protecting my privacy or am I protecting myself from rejection? Those are not the same thing. Privacy can be a healthy boundary. Hiding is often fear making the decision. You don't owe everyone access to every part of your life. But if you're consistently hiding the very expertise, message, business, leadership, or talent you want people to discover, that's worth examining. Sometimes the problem isn't that nobody sees you, it's that you've become highly skilled at making sure they can't. Choose one thing you've been avoiding because being seen makes you uncomfortable. Now it's time for your homework. Choose one thing you've been avoiding because being seen makes you uncomfortable. Don't choose 5. 1. Record the video. Send the email. Make the introduction. Apply, publish, speak, then afterward, write down what fear predicted would happen and what actually happened. That's important. You're gathering evidence. Behavior change accelerates when the brain discovers that the anticipated threat and the actual outcome aren't always the same. Now, in closing, not everybody is going to understand you. Not everybody is going to choose you. Not everybody is going to like what you have to say. Emotional maturity is accepting that without allowing it to determine whether you show up. Your job isn't to become acceptable to everybody. Your job is to become increasingly congruent with who you say you are. Stop editing yourself for rooms you were never meant to disappear inside. Let people meet the real you. Then let the right people recognize you. You don't need everybody to choose you, but you do have to stop hiding. Let yourself be seen without apologizing for who you've worked to become. Your emotions are information. Your behavior is the decision. I'm Natasha Richards, and it's time to own it.